I published earlier today, April 13th, a post that discusses some of my stock trades last week. There were no stock sales, and most of my investment grade corporate bond purchases. I also briefly mentioned buying some treasury bills at last Monday's auction. I am participating in every auction of the 3 and 6 month treasury bills now. Back in 2007, I started to become increasingly worried about the emerging economic disaster in subprime and Alt-A mortgages, believing the outcome would likely cause a recession. And that concern did cause a major shift out of stocks throughout 2007, which I discussed in a blog post, and into high quality corporate bonds. For those who were not paying attention back then, the warning signals started early in 2007, and they were frequent news about major default trends in those kind of mortgages. Unfortunately, while I was right about the recession coming, what actually followed was far worse than my worst case fear because I did not fully understand the rot underneath the surface. I did manage to reduce my stock allocation significantly before the bottom fell out in 2008. Back in 2007, a 30% allocation to stocks of the total amount held in my brokerage accounts was very low for me, and it hit close to that number by October 2007. I'm now close to 7%, but the dollar value at 7% may be close to the dollar value at 30% in October 2007. So there's still a significant amount of money invested that I have invested in stocks. It's just that the percentage is not that concerning to me anymore. It is just my opinion, but stock investors are still discounting the growing possibility, notwithstanding the decline in the stock market, of a worldwide recession and a serious recession in the United States starting within 12 months. And by serious, I mean something that won't be as bad as the near depression in 2008, but much worse than a garden variety recession, and it will be a self-inflicted recession. I have discussed the currently known information that, in my opinion, increases the odds in several recent YouTube videos, which I will link in the More section below. The issues fall into the following general categories. First, a rapid and significant decline in consumer confidence and sentiment over the past 3 months based on surveys conducted by the University of Michigan and the Conference Board that has already resulted through the last report in February in barely positive real personal consumption expenditures. 2. The significant decline in stocks will negatively impact the discretionary spending of the top 10% who account for close to 50% of all consumer spending. 3. An uptrend in inflation, which will soon start, caused in part by Trump's tariff taxes and the disruption in the U.S. supply chains that will have multiple causes, including the mass deportation of immigrants and the tariffs. 4. A significant decrease in the federal government spending, which has been supportive of GDP growth in prior years. 5. Mass layoffs at the federal government, increasing layoffs by businesses, including many small businesses that will go out of business because of their dependence on cheap foreign imports, primarily from China. 6. More restrained discretionary spending by many households who are becoming concerned about keeping their jobs, and that concern is going up. And that does result in restraints on consumer spending by them. And 7, more economically stressed households in the bottom 3 quintiles of income who are already distressed economically and have increased their debt obligations, with the distress primarily caused by the problematic inflation numbers that started in 2021 through most of 2023. In short, while I'm still buying stocks and will likely continue to do so as long as the market is declining, I remain very cautious in my approach, focusing on dividend paying stocks whose dividend yields are going up as their prices decline, as I discussed in this recent blog post published earlier today.